Well, currently, it's against the law to pay donors to donate, but we are allowed to compensate them for their expenses, loss of earnings, and any inconvenience they incur when they're donating. We have set our policy to only allow donors to be reimbursed for their expenses, so their travel or childcare, and their loss of earnings, but this is capped at £250, so it may not always reflect actual loss of earnings. So we've actually chosen not to compensate for inconvenience, even though we can. We also have a policy on actually allowing treatment services as in exchange for the donation of eggs or sperm. And this has actually been very popular with egg donation, what people call egg sharing, whereby a woman who needs IVF can give half her eggs to another woman in exchange for free or reduced treatment costs. So we're also going to be looking at this benefits in kind scheme as well as compensation more generally. We don't know an awful lot about what motivates donors to donate. And that is part of the reason for this consultation. We're going to be talking to donors and trying to answer some of these questions. But what evidence suggests is that donors are primarily motivated to help other people. In some countries where donors are paid, that does play a factor in their motivation. But it's a bit more nuanced than that. It usually is a mix of motives. And similarly with egg sharing, there is some evidence that shows that egg sharers are not just motivated to get free treatment, but they actually can empathise with the recipient because they're in the same position, and they're actually motivated also to help them. Well, what we do know is the current system isn't working perfectly. It's difficult to administer, and sometimes donors may actually be losing out financially from donating. We also know that our policy of egg sharing and giving treatment services in exchange for donation is very controversial. Some people think it's a perfect solution to the donor shortages, which benefits both donor and recipient with no adverse consequences, whilst other people think that it's an unacceptable inducement to donate, to incentivise women to do something they wouldn't otherwise want to do. So we're going to be looking at our rules. We're going to be saying, well, should we allow egg sharing, and what should compensation look like? Should we compensate for inconvenience, for example? And also, what should that compensation look like? Should we be giving donors a lump sum, or should it reflect their actual loss of earnings? And what impact might that have on clinics and supply of donors? And we want to hear your views, the views from clinics, the views from donors and recipients, and donor conceived people themselves, so that we can get it right.